morning. Good morning. How are you? What are we talking about today? We are taking questions, okay? So if you have a question, just please put it in the comment. We're only taking questions. If you have a news you want to share, yeah, just share it with us. Good morning. Good morning. We're taking questions. We are taking questions. If you have a question, please put it in the comment. Good morning, Oshulua. How are you? I'm putting the link in the IG so people can get in. Okay. So, good morning, Olu Sholafali. How are you? How you feeling? It's almost 12. It's basically going to be good afternoon. But anyway, so if you have a question, just put it in the comment. We are here to take questions. Meanwhile, I want to see if we have news. But I don't see any major news beside what I was talking about. Wow. So we have a lot of news basically. I thought we didn't have news, but we got a lot of immigration news. I'm going to share my screen in a moment. So let me just pull the screen so we know what we're talking about. Okay. So how can 212H can be utilized for a 15 years crime for moral trip? When it comes to applying for a waiver, you have to have, let's say, an application pending, and then maybe not pending, but let's say you want to apply for a green card. So, and if you have crime involving moral turpitude and you want to waive that, that's when you file for a waiver, either along with the green card application or after you already filed the green card application. So again, you still need a waiver, and because it's a 15 years old type of crime, it's probably going to be waived easily, but still have to prove extreme hardship to a qualifying relative, and in that case, it will be a either a basically children are included too, U.S. children or lawful permanent resident. In comparison to other fraud where the children are not qualifying relative, but this one you can use a child as a qualifying relative as long as the child is a lawful permanent resident or U.S. citizen. And sometimes if the crime is 15 years or old, you don't really need to prove the extreme hardship, but you still need a waiver. Yeah, but anyways, that's how it come into play. So basically, you're trying to waive it for the purpose of adjusting status, or let's say you're filing for something. Good morning, Pasio Pala Buena Comida. How are you? So we have a couple of immigration news here to share. I thought we didn't have news, but then I went there and looked into the immigration news. We have a lot of news. I want to share my screen so we have an idea of okay. So let me share my screen so we can get into it. By the way, please please share so that we can get people already in the system, because we don't have a lot of people here watching. We want to get people. Maybe I should post it here. Hold on, let me post it already here on the. Yeah, I want to go into the news. We have a lot of news. I want to go into the news, but give me one moment. Hold on. Hold on a second. Yeah, we have a lot of news here. I want to talk about it. I want to put myself there so we can discuss those news. If you have a question, please put it in the comment. If you have a question, please put it in the comment. If you have a question, please put it in the comment. Okay. So what's going on? Let me share my screen so we know what's going on for sure. Okay. Yeah. The first news, first of all, is that DOJ, the Department of Justice, issues interim final rule reducing the size of the BIA to 15 members. Wow, that's going to delay cases, basically. That's not a good idea. The Department of Justice scheduled to be published on April 14, which is today, reducing the size of the BIA, the Board of Immigration Appeal, to 15 members. The size of the BIA was addressed by a rule 2024, which provided 28 permanent members. So basically, when you file your appeal with the BIA, it used to take it takes too long, but now that they're reducing the size, it's gonna be taking way, yeah, But anyway, the reduction it's aimed at addressing significant institutional costs, including effect on the cohesiveness of the board's decision-making process and the college. Yeah, they just want a one single member type of decision. Like usually it's a board, more judges like will decide on the case, but looks like they just want a single decision. One judge will just look at the case, dismiss. That's not good. Yeah, that's not good. I don't like it. And this one, I talked about it yesterday. EOR acting director issue a memo to allow rejection of certain asylum claim without hearings. Basically, if the asylum application does not have legal sufficiency, it's going to be denied. An asylum application lacks legal sufficiency, it's going to be denied. In other words, if the asylum application is incomplete, it's going to be denied without a hearing. So you're not going to have the opportunity to go before the immigration judge and defend your asylum case. Basically, that's what they're saying. That's bad. That's bad too, right? Legally deficient asylum application without hearing. So basically, interpretation that current law allows immigration judges to reject pretermit legally deficient asylum application without a hearing. The moment indicated that immigration judge should take all appropriate action to immediately resolve cases on their docket that do not have a viable legal path for relief or protection of removal, including through pretermission, basically just terminate, be done with removal proceedings, like because the asylum question is not valid. But that's not like removal being terminated. It's just basically entering an order of removal because you don't have a claim, a valid claim. That's bad. Military mission for sealing the southern border of the United States and repelling invasion. This is basically military at the border, right? Oh my God, DHS makes a determination to end TPS for Afghans. That's bad. New York Times report that the Department of Homeland Security will end temporary protected status granted to Afghans under the Biden administration. According to the DHS spokesperson, the secretary determined that Afghanistan no longer continues to meet the statutory requirement for TPS designation, and so she terminated TPS for Afghan. Wow, more than 9,000 Afghans held TPS as of last year, according to the Congressional Research Service. TPS 4 is going to be terminated for Afghanistan, and this one for Cameroon as well. This is crazy. New York Times report that the Department of Homeland Security will end temporary protected status granted to Cameroonians under the Biden administration. More than 3,000 Afghans held TPS as of last year. Oh, this is Cameroon. I think they made a mistake here. But anyway, more than 2,000 Cameroonians held TPS as of last year, according to the Congressional. Yeah, basically, will end. Even TPS for Cameroon will be done. They'll cancel it. I guess they're going to file a lawsuit, but that's what it said. Social Security Administration share 98,000 addresses with DHS. That's bad too. The New York Times report that the Social Security Administration reached an agreement with DHS in February, in which the Social Security Administration will share the last known addresses of 98,000 people with ICE during the first Trump administration. DHS reportedly also pushed for access of Social Security data, but those efforts were rebuffed due to privacy concerns. Yeah, that's just because they want to target deportation, you know. And this one we talked about too. DHS begins screening non-citizen social media activity for anti-Semitism when considering immigration benefit requests. We talked about this one already. So let me stop right here and see if I have another news. Okay. Yeah. Wow, this is crazy. If they're gonna be done with uh-oh, my computer's freezing. What's going on? I can't believe my computer's freezing. Oh Lord. Hold on just a second. My computer's freezing. Yeah, it has to. I don't know why. Let me hold on just a second, okay? Let me try to fix it. What is going on? Why my computer's froze? I can't see your questions. This is crazy. Oh my gosh, my computer just froze. Yeah, hold on, hold on. Maybe I might have to start over. Okay. Can you imagine? It just froze for a minute. I was like, what is going on? They don't want me to talk about my computer just froze. Okay. Yeah, good morning. Are they still issuing work permit with 5 years validity? Yes, as far as I'm concerned, that's what they're doing. They're still doing it. Um, Thanks for all the free wisdom. You're welcome. Um, yeah, so what is going on? Yeah, so I don't see questions. I guess nobody has a question at this point. So we talked about what's going on. TPS for Afghanistan, TPS for Cameroon, it's gone. It's going to be, they're going to end it. So what are the options? Of course, asylum if you have a valid claim, or reopening cases if you have valid claim, or green card based on marriage. Those are the valid options. I can't believe it. Let me see. I wanted to see something else. Yes. I can't believe it. Yep. So that's what's going on. Let me see if I can find something. I saw something else here. Immigration news. Yeah, they're sending out emails to people, even U.S. citizens. They're sending out emails to people to leave the country because their parole status has been terminated. A lot is going on. Okay. Mecca Obina. I don't have specific days. I just come to you by chance. I come to you by chance, so Emeka Obina. So if you basically click the notification bell, you'll be notified when I go live. So I don't have specific days. I come when I have the time. You know, I'm a solo practitioner. It's just me. So that's why I don't have specific days and time. I try my best to be at least once a week. Yeah. Just put a lash a bit. Just put a large white paper behind your Boise University degree in that large frame. It's to make your degree look better. I did that with my degree frame. Okay. Yeah, Emeka, to be honest with you, I can't give you specific days because I only come here by chance too. So when I have the time to come, I come. I will show up. If not, then but anyway, if you click the notification bell, you'll be notified anytime I'm here live. You know, you'll be notified. Don't worry about that. Any other question? I can't believe it. They're really ending TPS for Afghanistan and Cameroon. I don't know if they'll file a lawsuit against the government, but it looks like TPS for Afghanistan and it's over, which is not good. Which is not good. Which is not good. Well, let's see if I can put. Yeah, just waiting for questions. I think all the news we talked about, those news, you know, what's really going on. The only two news we added were about TPS. TPS for Afghanistan and Cameroon is going to be terminated. I'm from Cameroon, been living on. I'm from Cameroon, been living on TPS. Yeah, TPS is going to be terminated. That's what they said. That's the latest immigration news, which is really bad because a lot of people will be affected by it. So, but I'm not sure if we will have a um, a lawsuit. That I don't know. Because remember, there's a lawsuit for Venezuela, TPS for Venezuelan. The lawsuit was filed, and the judge gave a how do you call it? The judge gave an injunction on it, like putting the termination on pause so that people can still continue on with their TPS. But that's not the final decision. You know, it's litigation. It takes some time. So that's where we currently stand with TPS for Venezuela. But now that they are announcing that they're going to terminate TPS for Cameroon and Afghanistan, I don't know if there's another lawsuit that will be filed. So yeah, so that's what we're working on. And I mean, we're just hoping that there's a lawsuit, at least that will put a pause on it so people can buy some time to figure out what will be the next step on those type of cases. But what can I say about options? Of course, asylum is always an option if a person has a valid claim. That's still an option. Um, Reopening a case, if you have a reason to reopen an old case, that's an option to consider. People who can get married based on, valid marriage, of course, you don't want to get into those sham marriage. That too is an option. But other than that, that's the news we got today. So let's hope there's a lawsuit, at least put some pause on it, because TPS for Cameroon is going to end in June, right? So we only have sometimes in April, May, and then June. So yeah. Okay. So that's what we are talking about. If a person gets married, right, but the person has to really have a valid marriage. If you don't have a valid marriage, it's just going to lead in disaster, because those there's no waiver if a marriage in question, if it has been found that it is a fraudulent marriage, there's no waiver available for those type of things. Somebody here is suggesting that undocumented immigrant find single ladies in the church who want to be married at any cost. I don't know what do you mean by any cost, but anyway, marriage has to be valid. If it's not a valid marriage, it's just gonna lead into disaster. Can you have vacate a 15-year conviction while respecting a client in order to move forward with citizenship? How would you vacate a conviction if the person was charged and convicted? You can't vacate the conviction. The person was charged and convicted, so basically the person went through the um the due process thing, and they find out that the person was guilty, that the person was convicted, right? So when it comes to citizenship, if it's not uh, if it's not a aggravated felony and happened 15 years ago, the person can still apply for U.S. citizenship. Um, of course, the question of good moral and character will be a challenge, but still, remember, it's a 15 years old type of charge. So um, uh, the person can request to apply for a waiver, but again, you can vacate a conviction that was valid. The vacate conviction, if they found out later that it wasn't a valid conviction, other than that, it stays in the system. um, you can waive it because it's 15 years old for the purpose of applying for something like. But let's say if it's not part of being aggravated felony, then the person still can apply for U.S. citizenship. But if it's a part of aggravated felony, even if it's waived, the person will never meet the requirement for uh, being a good person, having good uh, moral and character. Anything on John motion to reopen? On my side, we haven't tried that since Trump came back to power, and I haven't heard anybody talking about it because I guess ICE is not even responding. Um, yeah, on my side, to be honest, we haven't basically tried anything like that, joint motion, since Trump came back to power. We have not tried it. Okay. So some lawyers are recommending not traveling for green card. Um, Traveling outside the United States with a green card. Is it safe? Watch Chanel. I made the entire video about traveling outside of the United States with a green card under this current administration. So if you want to learn more about it, maybe you should refer back to my previous video about it, because I even made it on TikTok too about those travel. Um, Depending on, first of all, how you got your green card. Say, for example, if a person got a green card based on asylum, and then they're traveling outside of the United States and go back to the country where they claim persecution, that's, of course, you're not going to come back. It's just they're going to place you in removal proceeding because now the asylum in question is fraudulent. But if a person, let's say the person travel because they got a green card either by marriage or by work to employment, and then they're going home, they have the right to go home. The people who are getting arrested and being placed in removal proceedings, most of them, if you really look at closely, you find out that they have criminal history. So basically, what CBP is doing is checking into the record and find old criminal history and reviving it and place them in removal proceeding, talking about the person is no longer admissible to the United States. That's one of the reasons. And some people too, the reason they're being placed in removal proceedings is because of abandonment of citizenship. So basically, some people are thinking that they just abandon their citizenship because they stay longer than required. So when they're coming back, they're being placed in removal proceedings. But for people who have no criminal history, of course, they should go out. They have the right to go out and come back. As a matter of fact, I have a person who went back home to Nigeria, that's his home country, and came back under this current administration with no problem. They don't have criminal history. They don't have anything to hide. So they came back. But there's a lot of fear mongering going on. And, people just want to be safe, right? Because they don't want to be, people are afraid too, for good reasons, because of what's happening on the internet, because DHS is making mistakes too in terms of removal proceedings. So that's why some people are afraid. So this short answer is just going to depend on you now. Why are you traveling? What are you going to do there? Stuff like that. So that's on you now. I meant marriage after they fell in love, not a shame marriage. I don't think religious lady will do shame marriage. Yeah, of course, that's what we're saying, right? Marriage based on green card, it has to be a valid marriage. Of course, you have to be able to prove it, a bona fide marriage. And if you have a valid marriage, really, you can file for your green card application. Samantha, what Samantha is saying? We live in Georgia. He gets a notice to appear. Samantha, I don't understand your question. You're welcome, questioner. You're welcome. So, yeah, it's gonna be, ultimately it's gonna be a decision. But in my personal opinion, if a person does not have any criminal record, they have the right to travel. If they're going home, they have the right to travel, and they have the right to come back, to return. And as I told you, there's a client who went to Nigeria and came back, no problem. But if you look closely, you find out that people are being placed in removal proceedings or detained, or the people are going through secondary questioning. It's because of some stuff going on in their immigration history: fraud, misrepresentation, old crimes, or new crimes, or criminal records, uh, stuff like that. Um, Hashana, if you're not white, be careful. This administration seems to want to get rid of certain type of people. Just my opinion. Okay. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. So, can you get a work permit while AOS under I-245? Yes, you can get your work permit when you're adjusting under 2485, provided that you're eligible for adjustment, right? Meaning that you're not in removal and you're applying for adjustment of status with USCIS. Yes. Yes, the simple answer is yes. Is Samantha in Georgia or in Georgia, the country? Yeah, we don't know what Samantha is talking about. But I don't know. I don't know that you should ask a realtor. I don't know. But what they did, basically, they did something with I think there was a news they were talking about um they were talking about undocumented people can no longer buy house. Yeah, it was a breaking news, so I don't know if it's still valid news. He's in Atlanta, Georgia. But what was the question, Samantha? Because you just talking about receive notice to appear, but what was the underlining question? I don't know what was the underlining question. You receive a notice to appear. The person received a notice to appear, but they have a green card. Is that what you're trying to say? I didn't understand the your question, so I don't know. I don't know what you're actually asking. What about if you buy your house and you be deported? What happens to your house? Well, if you have problems and you know that your immigration status is not solid, this is the time that you have to make sure to take actions about your estate. So what I know is for sure that the house still belongs to you, but you have to have somebody who's going to take actions after you're gone. So you have to have the power of attorney, you have to have a lawyer or somebody who's going to take action after you're gone. You have to have it, you have to elaborate on all of that now before you get deported, before the person gets deported, if the deportation actually happens. Yes, the answer is yes, because of this remember the lake how do you call it, the Riley Laken law, the one that came out in Georgia, um about mandatory detention for all those type of I don't know when this one happens, the theft identity charges happen, if it happened prior to the Lake and Riley Act or after, depending on when it happens. Because if it happened after, then he was supposed to be already detained, right? But if it happened prior, giving this current administration, chances are he's going to be targeted. But the thing is, with U visa, we have a waiver for those type of crimes available for U visa applicants. So when he applies for a U visa, he has to apply along with a waiver in order to waive those type of crimes, especially if it happened prior to this leaking uh, the Laken Riley Act. Let me see. Means you buy it. But why now they said that the undocumented people cannot buy a house? I think I saw it somewhere. I'm not sure. Don't get me on that. You can verify the information because I saw it somewhere. They came up with a policy like that about undocumented immigrant not to buy houses. I don't know if it's already in effect. So, do you advise? No, by airplane, no. I'm not advising it because I personally, I was in New York on April 3rd. When was I? No, April 5th, from April 5th to April 7th this month. Okay, I was in New York. I personally saw it with my two eyes. I saw that there people with when they showed their how do you call it, the work permit, they'll put them aside. So I was like just being aware of my surrounding. That's what I saw a person really put the give the work permit because I know how the work permit looks like. Everybody knows it's kind of like red. I saw it was a work permit, even from just being like in parallel to the person. I saw them being they call somebody there and the person took them on the other side, but I didn't know how it ended it. But I just saw it with my own eyes. Okay. um, and that was this airport here, Washington D.C., going to the Ronald Reagan Airport from D.C. going to New York. So that I saw it with my own eyes. Okay, um, I will not suggest that unless they're driving. Right now, I'll not suggest it. No, I will not. To be honest, I'll not because just because of the things that are happening on those airports, you just want to be comfortable. It might not happen to you personally, but I'm just saying that if I were you, I wouldn't. If I'm going somewhere that requires I can drive like 4 hours, I'd rather just drive. Okay. He's from Nigeria. It doesn't matter where the person is from. The law is the law, right? So if the crime is waivable, of course you apply with a waiver. And it was written 15 years ago because it's prior to this Lake and Raleigh Act. Yeah, so they just have to apply with a waiver. Uh, your friend got deported for multiple crime. Well, you can be a person can be deported, and the other person can be able to waive it. So waivers are discretionary. Okay. I have applied for waivers for um on fraud and stuff like that. So waivers are discretionary. So not everybody gets deported because of that. I even have somebody who they took because of felony, they took their asylum away from them, but still, felony, when especially when it says aggravated felony, even withholding of removal under right circumstances, they will not give it to you. So, but that person, they took asylum away from them, but still we fought for withholding of removal and waive certain crimes and still have withholding of removal and still working and still living here in this country. So waivers are discretionary. It's just up to the person who's adjudicating it, whether or not they want to grant it, and based on the way you're presenting the case as well. So Samantha, don't follow this J guy. J guy. I don't know if it's a guy or, but anyway, don't follow him because, yeah, you just do what you can do on your case. Okay, don't follow him. Not everybody get deported. Wow, we have a breaking news that just came. El Salvador leader says he will not return man who was mistakenly deported. That's the problem. The person got deported by mistake, and the Supreme Court ordered this administration to work with that government to bring back this guy. And this government of El Salvador say they will not return this guy. Which is what? Why? Oh my gosh, this is gonna escalate. This is really bad. Yeah, this is really going to escalate. This is really bad news. I don't know how this is gonna. I don't know how this is gonna end, but wow, this is bad. The guy got deported by mistake. He's not a criminal. Why would you put him in a jail with criminal when the person is not, in fact, a criminal? At least it's not. Even if you're not gonna return him, you have to free him so he can return himself because he's not a criminal. I don't know how this one is gonna. People are still gonna fight for it. This is gonna be an international fight. Oh my gosh, this is worse. My friend kept doing wrong things. Whoever is one-time benefit. Oh, okay. Maybe he had a lot of crimes. Keep doing it all the time. That's why they couldn't. El Salvador gets a lot of American money to house each prisoner. Big money. Look at her. But this guy was deported by mistake. It's not like he deserved to be there. You can't just house somebody who's not a criminal in your prison because you want the money for that particular person. That it doesn't work like that. This is gonna escalate. This is gonna escalate. This is really bad news. I just saw it now. It just broke now when we were talking. This is bad news. I'm following the story because I really want to know how it's gonna end up, because if this DHS is making a lot of mistakes because they just want to deport people, it's gonna turn into international type of war. This is really bad. Yeah, this is really bad. I don't know. Anyway, so do we have any other question? If we don't have questions, I'm just gonna stop here. I guess we covered the most important things. The bad news is TPS for Afghanistan and Cameroon is going to be terminated. That's really bad. And then we have another bad news. Bad news as far as asylums are concerned in court. If the application is legally insufficient, it's just going to be pre-terminated. So it's basically bad. Yeah. So those are the, yeah, and then this bad news that we just spoke here. So we're gonna be done here for the day. Um, yeah, if we get more news tomorrow, I'll come back again. They will still get paid to house him. Yeah, but that's, the guy is not a criminal, so you can't hold somebody in prison who's not a criminal. That's, it's just like, yeah, it's even common sense. Um, and El Salvador wants to stay on Trump's good side. They will keep him. Really? That's crazy. Anyway, we'll find more because the news just broke today. We'll find more about it maybe in the afternoon or something, late afternoon, because it just broke now. The guy is just like a sacrifice. Can you believe that you become a sacrifice of ICE mistakes? That's just like, and you're not a criminal. It's like, really, how would you become a sacrifice when you're not a criminal? I don't understand this. I'm like, it's crazy. Yeah, okay. As of now, we have 243 policy action under this administration. And it's not even 100 days of Trump in power. It's not even 100 days yet. 100 days is going to be, let's see, February 20, March 20, April 20. By April 30th, it's going to be 100 days of Trump in power. I don't know what type of other actions he will take. This is crazy. Uh, okay, this is it for today. Please like, please share. Jay, because you like too much talking, please like, please share, by the way. Please like and share, okay? Because you're the only one talking here. So might as well like and share.